In Dan Trachtenberg's animated anthology film Predator: Killer of Killers, 3 human beings from 3 different locations and 3 different time periods face off against a Yautja. Ursa in Scandinavia, 841 AD. Kenji in Japan, 1629 AD. And Torres in the United States, 1941 AD. Though each of these humans fought bravely and won against the alien hunters pursuing them, their trials were far from over. Shortly after their victories, they were abducted by a Predator ship and were held captive, frozen in stasis. They awoke to find themselves escorted into an arena filled with the Yautja species spectating. They soon discovered they were there for the purposes of gladiatorial combat, as announced by the Predator leader. A fight to the death. Only one will live, and the survivor will face me. Each will receive a weapon of their tribe. Become the killer of killers. The humans were given a weapon commonly associated with their culture and place in time. Ursa was given an axe, Kenji a sword, and Torres a pistol, but one made a little bit before his time. This flintlock pistol should be instantly recognizable to fans of the Predator series, the weapon belonging to Raphael Adolini from 1715. This first appeared at the end of Predator 2. When Lieutenant Harrigan tracked a Predator down to its ship and engaged it in battle, he was able to kill it and afterwards was approached by one of the Elder Predators. In perfect English, the Elder told Harrigan, "Take it," and tossed him the pistol. This could have been given to him as a prize for his efforts, or possibly intended for the use in further combat, but the Predators didn't anticipate Harrigan escaping their ship before takeoff. In Prey, we see the origins of the pistol, and Raphael Adolini himself, who gives it to Naru and teaches her how to use it. Naru's story and her fight against the feral predator takes place in the northern Great Plains in 1719 AD. After her victory, the pistol remains in her possession, so how did the Predators come to have it in 1997, the setting of Predator 2? Killer of Killers may have an answer to that, but at the same time may be raising even further questions. At the very end of the film, we see hundreds, possibly thousands of beings in stasis, collected over any number of years from any number of planets. One we're made to pay specific attention to happens to contain Naru. This suggests that sometime after the events of Prey, Naru suffered the same fate as the humans in Killer of Killers, captured and left frozen to be put to use at a later time by the Yautja. Another Easter egg you may have noticed was that this was already hinted at in Prey, through the animation of the closing credits, which depicts a group of Predator ships emerging from the clouds above Naru's village. When they took Naru, she must have had the pistol with her, and it was taken for the use in their gladiatorial games. All this could point to the likelihood that the finale of Killer of Killers takes place sometime before 1997. We're not told exactly when it takes place, and as of yet, that information intentionally has not been revealed by Trachtenberg. In an interview with Collider, the director said, "I very specifically didn't label a year because I didn't want to paint myself into that corner. But I do think Torres was asleep for quite some time. If these events take place any time after 1997, then that would mean that Harrigan was captured too. And that's actually just as likely. Quite some time could mean quite a bit, so we're still in the dark about that. Many are theorizing that the finale takes place around the same time as Badlands, the timeline of which has so far not been revealed. But based on the trailer, Weyland Yutani is present, as are their androids, so it's certainly quite some time in the future. With this cryo-freezing concept, there are a lot of possibilities to be explored. Characters who have encountered predators in the past could have their stories continue. Fans have always wanted to see more of Dutch, the character played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the original film. This possibility was brought up in an interview with Polygon, and here's what Trachtenberg had to say. Certainly Arnold, like many others, was a survivor of his story, and one could easily imagine him up there in cryo, along with any other Earth champion or champion from other planets. Could Dutch return for another fight against the Predator hunters in a future movie? If not live action, then maybe another animated film. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think he may consider being involved. After all, he provided voice work for bonus content on the video game Predator Hunting Grounds. Some fans have even sworn that this person, seen briefly during the end scene, is supposed to be Dutch. I'm not too sure about that, and so far Trachtenberg has not made any confirmation. But he has said that there are further plans beyond Badlands. Could we see more of Dutch? Or could we see more of Lieutenant Harrigan? Or even Royce? Or, if it's considered canon at this point, how about Lex Woods from Alien vs. Predator? I always liked that character, and frankly I'm a little surprised they did absolutely nothing with her beyond that one movie. The only thing we know for sure is that Naru definitely has more stories still to be told, and as of Killer of Killers, she has been frozen for at least 2.5 centuries, give or take. Knowing Trachtenberg's affinity for surprises and keeping things secret, could this all be leading to an appearance of Naru in Badlands? I thought it was a little curious that Amber Midthunder showed up at the Killer of Killers premiere, and while it makes a little more sense now given the cameo at the end, I think she may be gearing up for some further involvement in the series. If she does show up in Badlands, then maybe it won't be a huge role, maybe another cameo, but surely whatever comes after that would significantly involve her and her character. Maybe that all depends on when exactly Badlands is supposed to take place. Now, if we want to consider the possibilities further, what if Badlands is set sometime around Alien Romulus? Conceivably, characters like Tia and Naru and Rain Carradine, along with Andy, could all cross paths. Also conceivably, live-action versions of Ursa, Kenji, and Torres could be thrown into the mix. And even Arnold, too. The Alien vs. Predator Avengers, yeah! So you could see how this cryo concept, while interesting, could open up a can of worms. It can be used as an effective storytelling tool, that's for sure, but it could also be abused for the sake of fan service. So I think Trachtenberg, as well as Fede Alvarez, and anyone else involved with Alien or Predator films in the near future, will need to tread very carefully. However you may feel about the films personally, Prey and Alien Romulus really revitalized these two franchises, winning over plenty of lifelong fans and introducing new ones. We know fairly definitively at this point that Badlands will confirm there is a shared universe between the two. How it connects them and what pieces it lays in place will determine exactly what the connection means moving forward. So Badlands could end up being the most consequential entry in either franchise. A lot will weigh on exactly what it may set up. I'm perfectly fine with the idea of the shared universe, that's almost a given as far as I'm concerned, and even bringing Naru back into a more futuristic setting sounds great to me. But this isn't Marvel. I don't think there should be crossover after crossover, and it's best to let these connections present themselves in a more subtle way. But maybe you feel differently. Maybe the idea of a giant crossover with all Alien and Predator characters sounds awesome to you. I'm very curious to know what you think about this one. How far could they or should they take this? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. I'll be keeping an eye out for further updates on all things Alien and Predator in the meantime. If you want to keep up to date along with me, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and for more you can follow me on social media. I can be found on X, formerly Twitter, on the account alien_theory, and on Facebook and Instagram on the accounts alientheoryyt. I'll see you next time, and until then, this is Alien Theory, signing off.